Okay, so start with the basics. How you got involved in the IT industry, whether it was something you'd always wanted to do, or came as later and changed your career. So far, the people I've talked to, there's been a whole variety of stories. So, be interested to know, how you arrived in the IT industry.
Yeah, so I was an accountant by trade, a CPA, and I worked at a company called Arthur Andersen, and I was there for a few years. And they actually, I don't know if some people know, but they had an issue with a company called Enron, and that company went away. So at that point, I moved over to a different public accounting firm, and I felt like my dream of becoming a partner in a big public accounting firm kind of changed, and I was ready to move into private industry. So I looked at a bunch of different companies. At the time, I was very much working with public companies like SEC filers. And in South Florida, back in those days, there was a lot of different industries you could go into. Pharma was very big here. The Wayne Huizenga empire was very big here, like waste management. If you guys remember Blockbuster Video, there was Sports Authority. And then there was this company that was relatively small at the time called Citrix, and it was a technology company. And I found that to be like very interesting. I always liked working with computers, and I always felt like that was an area that was really going to be the future. So I chose to go to Citrix. I wound up being there over 17 years, and we grew that company from 300 million all the way up to 3 billion. We spun 20% of it off and grew it to 3 billion again. And over those years, we did a lot of different acquisitions. When I started in technology, it was very much the on-prem technology where you bought a license for life and bought support separately. And, several years ago, a lot of companies started moving more into that SaaS model where things are delivered from the cloud and, the subscription model. So it just really turned out to be a very exciting journey. And, I never really considered, even as I made my last career change a year and a half ago, it didn't even cross my mind to change industries, to be honest with you.
Okay, and so from starting out with Citrix, and where are you now? What company are you at, and what job role do you have there?
Yes, so right now I am at a company called Kaseya, and it's a technology company that services the small businesses of America. So we feel like, and globally actually, and we have a very big TAM. We are the company that provides the software that actually helps the folks that are helping our small businesses deliver the services and goods they deliver. So I'm right now the CFO. I wear many hats here, though. I run legal, HR, finance, and accounting, as you would expect. I also run M&A, the whole order to cash process, and sales strategy and operations.
Okay, and in terms of the sort of development of your career, in terms of the challenges you've faced, how would you characterize them? Are they most of them just normal career challenges, or bear in mind the focus of the series, which is obviously around women in IT? Do you think you've faced certain incidents or challenges that were related to the fact that you're a woman certainly in the IT industry is fairly male dominated, shall we say?
Yes, 100%. I think that on one side, I've been given a lot of opportunities. I think some of that's because I was always willing to do the jobs that nobody wanted to do. So when it came time to run accounts payable or reorganize the back office or do like maybe some of the less sexy jobs, I think that I was always willing to raise my hand and do those. So I got a lot of opportunity, and I would recommend that to anybody. Be the person that is willing to do the things that no one else is willing to do. And you can sometimes be surprised at what you learn. So from that perspective, I was given a lot of opportunity. On the flip side of that coin, when I was given that opportunity, I was really never given the title and the compensation that would be commensurate with the opportunity. So for example, I took on a team of 200 people, did a complete lift and shift of the back office at a company. And I did that at a senior director level when a male peer of mine took on, maybe an additional 30 people in one organization, and he got promoted to an executive level. So I think that, was it because I was a woman? Probably. There was many times when we would be in a boardroom and I'd be there and everybody around the table was executive level except me. I was the director level and I was the only female in the room. Could it be a coincidence? It could have been, but I think it had something to do with it. I will say, though, for anybody who is struggling with that, change has been happening. And this is kind of a funny way to think about it, but I was at our sales kickoff at Kaseya a couple of months ago. It was like our mid-year kickoff. And there was this giant line for the bathroom, for the women's room. And I was joking around with the girls because I was like, this is an awesome thing. I have to tell you, 10 or 15 years ago, when I started, actually, there was no line at the women's room at a tech event. It's the opposite of what you would see at a football game or a baseball game. So we've made a lot of strides in getting more women and females involved in technology. I've definitely seen that evolution as time has gone on. But I think there's still a lot more work to do.
Okay, and in terms of the progress made, have you, when you've bumped into it, has it been sort of people driving the culture within the organizations you've worked at? Has it been, I don't know, industry initiative? I know there are a lot of sort of women in IT support groups, whether it's within a company or, wider with geographical locations, stuff like that. What sort of things have you seen that have helped make this change?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things that I think that's very important is we have to get women engaged in technology at all levels. And we have to, especially for our experienced hires, make sure that they're not intimidated by it. And what does that mean? It means that for functional areas that maybe aren't technical, like finance, accounting, HR, legal, sales, perhaps, hiring more women in at different levels. I think that that's a really good way to get more people in. And it's not about, quotas or things like that. It's just considering all candidates equally, reaching out on LinkedIn when, you have an open position to your network and, letting other women know that, technology is a great place to be. I always tell people I think it's the most exciting of all the industries. It's the future. It's definitely changed the world. So that's one way to get more women into technology. And I have seen that. It's just kind of like, oh, well, now I'm a female CFO and I get women reaching out to me all the time that are interested in positions. I'm always active on LinkedIn, always saying, hey, come join us, that kind of a thing. The other thing we really need to do is change it from the bottoms up, because even though I think we've made a lot of strides in having more women in our sales organization, having more women in, other supporting functions like G&A and back office functions and marketing and HR. I think that when it comes down to the heart and soul of technology companies, which is product and R&D, I think you will still see there are a few women there. So we have to get our girls involved in STEM. We have to get our girls coding, and we have to really, if we're going to change it fundamentally, we have to change it at that level. And that's a place where I still haven't seen the big lift and shift of more women in those areas.
Okay, and is that because it sounds like it's the education system? I know obviously different countries have different, but it sounds that there's a sort of common problem that for whatever reason, girls, women at school and maybe even further education are not encouraged, or it's not explained to them what, the world of IT, or they have this slightly negative attitude because maybe they see on the telly, whenever there's an IT story on the telly, there's nearly always a sort of middle-aged or elderly, male white person talking about it, because that seems to be the sort of got people at the top, certainly in the social media side of things. So is that what needs to change, and how any ideas as to how that can be done?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of opportunity in that area. I think that we have, whether it's the community of IT itself, I don't know if we can rely on the education system, perhaps for the folks that are guiding people into careers. I do think that there are not enough girls that are being directed into that area, if you will. I really do, because, and the reason I say that is because I can see the output. When I go to hire engineers or product folks, we just don't get a lot of female resumes. That's changed in other areas of the business. For example, on my team, my chief legal and HR officer is a female, my GC is a female. We've seen that. I have a lot of female accountants and finance people, and we've seen it in other areas. In sales, we've got a lot of females. We are very much a company that grows our own. We hire early career folks and we teach them to sell and we support them. And we're able to get a lot of female salespeople. But when it comes to those technical roles, I'm still not seeing the amount of women that I see in other areas. And I do think that that's where we're going to fundamentally change this industry if we want to change it. It's got to be down at that technology level.
Okay, and I know there are some industry initiatives because there's a general shortage of, regardless of diversity,
yes,
tens, hundreds of thousands of empty vacant jobs for IT roles, and that's before things like AI and whatever have really come into the mainstream. So I guess what I'm saying is, do you think there's possibility to reskill people as well? I know there's some talk of sort of compatible industry trying to get people to come across. Is that easy, or are they, those industries, fighting for people as well? Any thoughts?
I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting point. I absolutely think that it's never too late to reskill people. One of the things that we're seeing right now, which isn't with coders or product engineers, is in the sales area, because of what's going on in the macroeconomic environment regarding housing and mortgages and interest rates. We've actually seen an influx of applications from folks that were selling mortgages that want to try their hand at selling software right now. So I think that, that's just, it just made me think of it when you said that, is there's always an opportunity to bring folks in and retrain them. Now at the sales level, we can train them here. We have a very robust enablement program, and we can put those folks through that program and help them learn to sell software. For people that are down in the coding area, that would probably have to be a school of some sort that does that. We are actually, my company, Kaseya, is partnering with local universities to come up with a technology track where we train folks on our technology kit and have them graduate with we're hoping to be some sort of a new degree in what we call MSP, managed service providers. And managed service providers are the folks that small businesses turn to provide their tech. So if you think about like a local dentist office, or you think about, a restaurant where, maybe historically it was a very analog business, and then they started moving into, well, let's try to do, online reservation systems, and let's text people that their appointment is coming up. And for restaurants, maybe we want to do online reservations or online ordering. I think COVID really increased that, sped it up, because it became technology, actually, for some small businesses, and many of them, I should say, became the difference of having a business or not having a business. If you weren't able to pivot and leverage technology to do online ordering and work with delivery services during the height of COVID, you may have not even had your restaurant at the end of it. So we service the folks that service those small businesses, because if you're a small dental office or a small restaurant, you're not going to have the budget or the ability to have an IT person on site. So what you do is you hire what we call an MSP, and they provide your technology. So we've seen an explosion in our business and the number of MSPs, the number of small businesses that are leveraging technology. And, we feel like there's a lot of growth there. So our MSPs, our customers are facing a challenge with getting technical talent to service the small businesses. So we're starting to look at how do we get people trained, and can we get a program together to get sort of like a degree so that we can actually have people coming out of university to work for our customers as well, because our customers are technology people too. So it's a very interesting, you can see it on all different levels. And of course, we would love to encourage women to, participate in those types of things, because even in the MSP industry, we see it's very, very male dominated. The folks that are providing IT to the small businesses are very much male. However, recently we have a CEO council that our CEO runs. Fred Vicola is our CEO. And we just added a female CEO to our customer council that he does. So that was very exciting for us as well. She's the first one.
Okay, that's great. And maybe just as we're sort of finishing off, it'd be good to think if there's anything you think, for the IT industry moving forward, particularly around this sort of diversity issue with women in IT, anything you think, you've outlined some initiatives already going on, but is there anything you think, wow, if only we could do this, or we need to stop doing that? Any thoughts as to some ways that the industry could move more rapidly, should we say, towards equality, which I think everyone agrees is where we need to end up, but the rate of progress is perhaps not as good as it could be?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things we can do. And I think some of the changes have already happened, but I think that women at the manager, director, executive level need to get more involved and really getting out there and touting technology. I think we need to get more women involved in boards. That's another place where women historically were much more underrepresented than males. I think that we definitely need to support some of the groups that are going after this. For example, girls who code, girls who develop IT. There's a lot of very good not-for-profits that are working toward that. Getting more female and young girls involved in, STEM and coding and those types of things. I think it's going to be very much the obligation of female leaders like myself, like I'm sure the other folks that you're interviewing in this series, to really start being more visible, be the voice, go to the universities, encourage younger women to get involved. And also, I think that we have to keep fighting for our seat at the table, right? We can't give up. We can't accept that there's the glass ceiling. I mean, I literally made the move out of a company that I was with for many, many years to get the CFO role. And I think we have to, just keep doing that. We can't just get comfortable. We have to always, fight for that extra little bit, and then share that with the community and be visible and vocal, because IT is very exciting. I mean, I feel like every day I learn something new. I've dealt with it at the enterprise level, and just seeing the changes of, what we did and historically with perpetual licenses, and now everything's delivered through the cloud, and the consumerization of, business applications, and the way our customers are demanding different things. And, we talked a little bit about how technology is even becoming, the most critical aspect of what small businesses spend on. It's just everywhere around us. And I think we need to really, step out and speak up and get people excited about it and get people to come join us.
Okay, that's great. It's been brilliant to chat to you. So Kathy, appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.